Some people just take themselves too seriously. Hello Team Power Sports fans, and welcome back to the TPS Moto Vlog. My name is Sarah and I'm going to be your host today while we explore the 2019 Honda Africa Twin Adventure Sports DCT. This behemoth of adventure is Honda's biggest dual sport motorcycle to date. This thing is amazing. It's got 10 inches of suspension travel in the front, almost 9 inches of suspension travel in the rear, 10, 11 inches of ground clearance. Like, this is a serious on-road, off-road adventure motorcycle. It's powered by a 1000cc parallel twin engine that makes somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 horsepower, 6-speed dual clutch transmission, which means that it is automatic. So here, somewhere in the internals of this transmission is a set of twin clutches that moves the power from gear 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 based on RPM, load, and the computer system, and how you have the modes set up there through the dashboard. Pretty cool, right? Let's take a look at how it all works. So when I turn on the motorcycle, I really like the way Honda's done the dashboard on this thing. I was actually playing with it earlier, and when the sun was directly on it, like when normally you're blinded and can't see what's on your display, this actually shows up whether it's sunny or not. So you'll see here that it starts in neutral. Well, we'll get into that later, but basically it starts in neutral, and then I have my different modes. And right now, I've got a tour mode, which is the most power and medium engine braking and decent amount of torque. I have a gravel mode that kind of evens the whole thing out, but takes a little bit of power away from it. And gravel mode, that's what you're going to use when you're off-road because you don't necessarily want to be slipping the back wheel. I've got urban mode, which is kind of mid-power, mid-engine braking and decent torque for when you're bombing around downtown. And then there's the user mode, where if I go into the settings here, I can actually go through and select how I want the power, the torque, and the engine braking to work. I'm actually going to leave it in torque, because according to their website, that is the high power mode. Should be pretty interesting. Now over here, this is really neat. I actually have the ability to turn off the anti-lock brakes in the back. If you're a serious off-road rider, you're actually going to want to be able to drag that back brake, especially in a downhill situation. Which, you know, it's pretty cool that they thought of that. So let's hop on this bike and take it for a little spin. Oh, I am 5 foot 9 inches tall, and I cannot flat foot this bike. We turn it on, it starts up. I select my mode, which is going to be touring mode, and it's always in neutral when you turn it on, so it's actually integrated start over here. Now here's how a DCT works as far as riding the motorcycle. Put your hand on the brake, and over here is drive. And I just twist the throttle and it goes. But that's not all, because in addition to drive mode, you can actually tell it what the shifting is going to be like. So right now, it's the most aggressive shifting, and then I hold down, and I can actually see that little gauge going up right there. Chooses how aggressively the bike is going to shift. I'm just going to leave it in the standard drive mode for right now. Actually, this button, A and M, is for automatic and manual. So if I click it, the drive goes away, and it only shows the one, and then I have a downshifter here on the back of the handle, and an upshifter here on the front of the handle that's going to let me bang through the gears. I actually want to put it back into drive mode just to see what it does in stock format. All right, and we're accelerating. Okay, second already, third already, fourth already, fifth already, and sixth already. That really goes through the gears quick. I'm guessing it's because you want to get excellent gas mileage if you're using it in a touring setting. The gear shifting is very smooth, and it just kind of goes right through on the way up and on the way down. It doesn't really have an aggressive downshift. So I'm going to push the button, and let's see what the lowest shift mode does. We'll see how much more aggressive that makes it. Well, she's hanging on to third a little bit longer this time. And there it just went into fourth. Okay, I think I see what's happening here. All right, so now I'm in that second illuminated shifting mode. And I can for sure tell now that that's actually choosing how aggressively it's going to shift and how long it's going to stay in the RPM range. Remember before, when I first pulled out of the dealership, it was already in 6th gear by the time I hit 40 miles an hour, and now I'm at 40 and it's still hanging on to 4th. Oh yeah, look, it's engine braking a little bit harder because it's shifting differently. So now we're in the final sport mode. Oh yeah, that's how I like it, TPS fans, because that's exactly how I would shift a regular motorcycle. And we're stopped, and we're in manual mode. So I'm gonna shift up with my index finger. In manual mode, the shifts are insanely smooth. And now I remember what I liked about their paddle shifters. I had forgotten. It wasn't just because I like to tell it when to shift. It's because this thing shifts so fast and so smooth. I mean, there's virtually no... I mean, even in downshifting. That's second gear at 40 miles an hour, 5,000 RPM, and it just drops into the next gear. That's fantastic. This is a quality piece of engineering from Honda. Hello, fellow biker. Some people like to do the little 2 fingers out, or, you know, I always try and... And I'll tell you why. It's because some people just take themselves too seriously. Fantastic acceleration. So Sarah, why would I ever want to buy a dual clutch transmission automatic motorcycle? I'll tell you why. Because if you are using this thing like it is intended to be used as an adventure touring motorcycle, there are going to be times when having an automatic transmission is a good thing. Number 1, say you've got a ride from Raleigh, North Carolina to Marion, North Carolina, and you want to get there quick so you can get into the mountains, and if you're not from around here, that's about 3.5, 4 hours if you take a couple of stops. And it's all slab. You just get on I-40 and you 75, 80 miles an hour, and having the automatic transmission means that all you have to do is just roll on and off of the throttle, and there's not really much else to worry about. And actually, now that I sit here in quandary over when you would want an automatic transmission motorcycle, traffic. I hadn't even thought of it before. I was thinking of it in terms of adventure motorcycling, but let's say you get stuck in stop-and-go traffic in a state like North Carolina where you can't lane split or filter. Through first and through second, back through first, you're just... It's not very much fun. But if you're on an automatic transmission motorcycle, like the Africa Twin DCT, away, foul beasts, then that situation, stuck in traffic, while not desirable, is slightly more comfortable. The other time you're going to want an automatic transmission motorcycle, especially an adventure class automatic transmission motorcycle, is when you are actually riding on the trails. Let's say you get to an uphill section and it's a little bit washed out and you're not really going to be going very fast anyway, so you put it in first gear and there's no clutch. The bike does the clutch for you, which means A, you're not going to stall out and get yourself into an even more sketchy situation. B, you're not having to work the clutch constantly. You just pop it into first gear and, just go on along. I'm not going to lie to you, TPS fans. I'm not going to stake a claim that I would buy this one over the other one. the automatic over the manual, because I love a manual transmission motorcycle, but I think that I would have to have a very serious conversation with myself about how I'm going to be using that motorcycle, and would an automatic transmission benefit me? And there it is, TPS fans, the 2019 Honda Africa Twin Adventure Sports DCT. It's big, it's bold, it's brash, it's beautiful. The technology takes a lot of the processes out of riding a motorcycle, and it just leaves you with the bike and with the fun. And if you want to see it in person, come on down here to Team Power Sports Garner. We're at 222 US 70 East. You can find us on the web at www.team-powersportsgarner.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Our hashtag is TPSNC at Team Power Sports. We'll catch you next time.